I was just sitting here thinking, I'm thinking that the consumer needs to be protected from the federal government, and all the things we're talking about. And another thing, we've been talking about these bank failures. I'm from Texas, as you know, and I don't like Texas banks. I want to go on record with this. I don't like Texas banks, good-run Texas banks, bailing out bad-run California banks. I think that's really bad policy. Now, Director Chopra, the first time you came here before this committee, you said you would protect the interest of small business. And I proudly serve as chairman of the Small Business Committee, and I can tell you, we don't feel too protected. And ever since you joined the CFPB, your agency continues to add burdensome requirements without any consideration of their impact on small businesses and small lenders. And when talking to community bankers back in my district, in Texas, and quite frankly all over, and across the country, every single person tells me how miserable and terrified they are about the CFPB's 1071 small business data collection rulemaking. They are concerned that the complicated reporting requirements will tie up loan officers and increase compliance costs, plus compliance officers, which will be passed down to the consumer. Guys like me that borrow every day, we pay for all this. And they're concerned this will push the industry towards a standardized small business loan product and kill relationship banking, what is free enterprise and capitalism are based on. So, and everybody's concerned too that it's going to push the industry towards standardized small business loan and kill relationship banking, as I said, and they're concerned that this will force their employees to treat privacy an afterthought and collect more data than necessary on small business loan applications, which is what we don't want to have happen. Now, right now, small businesses are struggling with rising costs due to inflation, increased interest costs, and ongoing labor shortages, and this out-of-touch rule will only build on these issues. This is a hard time for small business. And the 1071 rule is an attack on Main Street America, and it's the only way you can look at it, which is why I introduced a Congressional Review Act with Congressman Barr and Ogles to halt the implementation of the CFPB's final 1071 rule. And Senator Kennedy is leading the Senate companion to this resolution, and it has the support of over 45 state and national financial associations, further proving the urgent need to block this regulatory overreach and ensure it does not take effect. It is bad business. It is bad for Main Street. It is bad for consumers. Now, Director Chopra, how have you been working with small businesses? How have you been helping them to ensure that your regulations are not causing any undue burdens on our country's small business owners? How have you been doing that? Because there's real concern they don't hear from you.
Well, one of the things we've done is we've focused a lot of our engagement on institutions we don't supervise. I've met with, I believe, 28 now state bankers associations that each of them have dozens of members to talk directly to me. We've done the same thing with credit union leagues. I believe we've hit 20 states in the District of Columbia. I just want to say, I take your points very, very seriously, and we tried to adjust the rule in ways that would reduce some of those costs.
So let me get my time back. You don't think it creates a burden for these financial institutions? You think it eases it?
We certainly publish what we believe will be some of the costs. We tried our best to figure out what are the ways in which we can limit it, and we also created and made significant changes that the smallest banks, 2,000 of them, will not have to do it. Well, I hear you completely. We don't want standardized small business lending.
And it does trickle down to the consumer like me, the borrower. Let me ask you this, the CFPB's funding mechanism. We talked about it leads to very little congressional oversight of the budget, and instead your budget is given to you by the Fed. There are many more court challenges out there regarding your funding mechanism, and the actions of the Bureau do not comply with regular order, therefore creating more uncertainty in markets as everyone waits for the courts to decide. In order to ensure your accountability and transparency to Congress, it is imperative that your operation be subject to congressional appropriations. So, Director, if the Supreme Court strikes down your funding mechanism, will you be accepting of being subject to congressional appropriations?
Well, we will comply with any Supreme Court decision to make sure that we're following the law and doing so accordingly. We don't agree. The Solicitor General has filed a petition seeking reversal. There's conflicting opinions in the circuit courts, and we'll look forward to the result.
Let me ask you a quick question now. Lastly, CFPB fined Equifax for data breach. Did you fine yourself?
Well, I was not part of that. I'm happy to talk
But have you
to
fined
more
yourself for what
detail. tell you more detail. This is an insider threat, a different situation, but it's a very serious one.
My time's up. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.